actors such as Kevin Spacey and Sir Ben Kingsley, directors such as J.J. Abrams, Spike Lee, and Gus Van Sant, and with our Maverick Innovator Award this year to the father of the cell phone, Marty Cooper. And today we're very excited to give our Maverick Innovator Award to a man who is both an artist and is utilizing the powers of technology to create and to connect audiences with great art and directors and actors. I do want to say that this particular award is very appropriate today because the artist who created it, Carlos Perez, is a Silicon Valley-based artist, and guess what? He was the guy that designed the Apple logo, all right? Okay, so there's a specific tie-in today, and Steve Wozniak is a board member of Cinequest, so we love the technologies, of course, of Apple, and it's exciting that Adam and Matthew have been utilizing these technologies to bring art to more people. So please join me, please rise and welcome our Maverick Award recipient, or Innovator Award, Matthew Modine.
The question is, would you have stood had he not asked you to get out of here? Thanks very much. Wow, what a pleasure to be back in San Jose. What am I going to say? I worked here. This is remarkable. I just saw Alan Parker in London. We had lunch together. He was celebrating his 70th birthday. And he said, "Do you remember when we made Birdie?" I said, "Yeah, of course. It was 1984. He said, "What year is it?" And I said, 2014. And oh my God, 30 years. Even since I was here, and 30 years since I made that film. Where does the time go? So it's a wonderful pleasure to be back in San Jose. We filmed, I don't know if you've ever seen Birdie. People seen Birdie? Yeah, it's a lovely film. Thank you very much. We filmed at a mental hospital that is, I think, since been closed down. Here.
Agnes.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, it was an incredible place where the people that lived there had opportunities to do different kinds of jobs and be able to keep their days busy, being productive, and because that's what we want in life, right? We want to be productive. We want to do things, and so there was a hospital that was set up to help those people have productive lives. And I'm not a fan of Ronald Reagan, but I think it was his administration that was responsible for its closing. So I don't want to offend anybody because some people might like Ronald Reagan. Anyhow.
So again, you're not here to see me, so I'll say as little as possible. But I did have the privilege of not only meeting Matthew briefly today, but I've spent the last 3 weeks with his app. And it is really a journey as I'm an educator and I teach young people how to be filmmakers, or I try to, and I learned a lot through this journey. And in an interview that I just sat through watching, Matthew, you said that, in addition to, this being the first of its kind, which you should talk about, but it's really a journey of becoming, and you referenced Siddhartha and Buddha. I thought that was really fascinating, and maybe you could share that with a larger audience if you could.
Yeah, it's extra. I mean, it was really wild to watch it being projected on a screen so big with this stereophonic sound, and it's. Where do I begin to talk about that experience of Stanley Kubrick mailing me a script? First of all, I didn't know how he found my house to be able to mail the script to me, that it didn't go through the normal channels of going through to an agent or a manager, that it just arrived, and it was a handwritten note from Stanley Kubrick asking me if I'd be interested in being in his movie. That's how it began. It began before that, and I was sitting in a restaurant in Los Angeles called The Source. Everybody see Annie Hall?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Woody Allen puts the car in reverse to back out of the restaurant and drives the car into the restaurant? He thinks he's going backward and he drives the car into the restaurant. I was sitting there with another actor named David Alan Grier. We were having pancakes. And we were laughing, saying, I hope Woody Allen's back in New York and not in Los Angeles, because where we were sitting, we would be dead if Woody Allen would have driven the car. See, in the movies, it's funny. And in reality, two young actors get crushed and killed while they're eating their pancakes. So I was sitting there and looking at David Allen, who's sitting opposite me, and there was an actor just over here who was looking at me, and he was... and I said, David, I said, there's an actor maybe learning his lines, or maybe he has Tourette's. He's looking at me and he's saying really obscene things. And David looked over his shoulder and he says, oh, that's Val Kilmer. He's a really nice guy. And I said, I didn't know who Val Kilmer was then. It was 1980, I don't know, 84, I guess. And so he got up, he knew him, he'd worked with him on a movie called Top Secret. He'd helped him to learn some songs that he sang in the movie. And so he went over, he started talking to him, and then he waved me to come over and meet Val Kilmer. Now, can I swear in this room? Is no, it's okay to swear. So, I mean, I said some obscene things in the app, so. David waves me to come over to meet Val Kilmer, and he goes, Matt, this is Val, and this is Matthew Modine. And he goes, yeah, I know who he is. I'm fucking sick of him. And I said, what? I mean, what's the problem? He said, you know, I was on a run. I got films, because we were the same age, and so he said, you got Streamers with Robert Altman, and you did Vision Quest, and you did Mrs. Sofo with Mel Gibson, Diane Keaton, you did Birdie with Alan Parker, and now you're fucking doing Stanley Kubrick's movie. I'm sick of you. And I said, you know, I didn't audition for Full Metal Jacket. You had to send a videotape, and it was very difficult in those days to make a videotape of yourself. You had to get a big camera, a VHS tape. Where do you buy those things? And mail it to Stanley Kubrick in London. I didn't know where he lived. And so I hadn't done any of this, and obviously Val Kilmer had. And so he was really angry because he'd heard from some rumor that I was going to do Full Metal Jacket. And I said, look, I'm not going to apologize to you or anybody else for the work that I've done, but I didn't audition. If you got a problem with me, why don't we take it outside? Because that's the kind of guy I am. It seems like I'm a nice guy, but I'm a killer.
I don't remember that part of the story. I remember the Val Kilmer story, yeah, but I remember that.
So I ran out, before cell phones, I ran outside, put a bunch of quarters in the phone, and called my manager up in London, in New York City, and said, do you know anything about Full Metal Jacket? He said, no, I don't know anything about it. I said, well, let's call Warner Brothers and get them to send over Vision Quest, because Stanley works with Warner Brothers. We'll send a Vision Quest, and I'll call Alan Parker in London, who's editing Birdie, and have him send over a piece of film. And so the funny thing is in some odd way, I think that Val Kilmer might be responsible for my having got the part.
And that's in the end. What's great is that you go back. You don't just start on the set. He funnels into how you got the part, how you met Stanley. And there's some really interesting stories between you and Vince on how you got him the audition, which was, I think if you told that story, that would be fantastic, and sort of your different philosophies and acting styles.